Bhagavad Gita 1.4 Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharathaha. Duryodhana is describing the army on the opposite side to Dronacharya. Duryodhana had allied with many kings and had formed a huge army, and yet those who were the foremost generals on his side, Drona and Bhishma, he suspected their loyalty to him, and thus he here makes the point that they can't be that he is making this point to incite Drona, by which Drona will fight wholeheartedly. And the previous verse he said that just see the expertise of the king of, just the expertise of the son of Drupada, who is your student and who has arranged this army so formidably against you. So the idea is he is inciting him that you were too broad-minded, too liberal earlier. You accommodate your enemies, and now see what has happened. That Dhristadyumna, who had been born to kill you, and Drupada, who had taken a vow to destroy you, and who did a yajna by which Dhristadyumna would appear, both of them are there on the opposite side now. Atra Shura, on this side, on the opposite side, there are Maheshwasha, there are great warriors. Bhima Arjuna Samayudhi, equivalent to Bhima and Arjuna. Yudhano Viratascha. And along with that, he also has warriors such as Yudhana Viratascha, Drupadascha Maharathaha, and Drupadascha. There is Drupada also. Generally, whenever people are to be made to do something, there is the appeal by reason and the appeal by emotion. Emotions are extremely powerful forces within all of us, and once emotions are awakened, are activated, then the way people can act is extraordinary. The way they can forcefully, zealously push themselves to do anything and everything, that has few, if any, parallels. So such is the situation of Duryodhana, and as he is trying to incite the emotions of Drona. Normally, when we do something, how intensely we do it depends on how much emotion is invested in something. And if the emotion is not invested, we may not do it diligently. If the emotion, on the other hand, is actually invested in something opposite, then we may even drag our feet while doing it. Just like a child wants to play and the mother tells you have to go to school now. No, I don't want to go. Child may literally drag feet. I will not go. So as adults, we will not physically drag our feet, and usually nobody will drag us physically. But nonetheless, the fact is that every one of us has to act, and we can't act unless we can't act effectively unless our heart is invested in it. So Drona had affection for the Pandavas because in general the Pandavas were very respectful to their elders, including Drona. And Drona had a special affection for Arjuna because Arjuna had been his best student. Arjuna had attentively heard, diligently practiced, humbly inquired, and resourcefully served Drona. Thus, there would be, Duryodhana knew, a certain amount of emotion of Drona that would be on the opposite side. That would make him want to fight, that would make him fight half-heartedly. He might even be wanting that he would have preferred to fight on the side of the Pandavas instead of against them. But somehow situationally now he had to fight. So what could he do? Duryodhana wanted to make sure that Drona's emotions worked for the Kauravas and not worked for the Pandavas. Now he couldn't make Drona's emotion of affection for the Pandavas disappear. He personally there was no love lost for him towards the Pandavas. He had immense antipathy towards them. But no matter how much he spoke about against the Pandavas, Duryodhana knew that he couldn't swerve, he couldn't change the affection that Drona had for the Pandavas. So the next best he could do was try to misdirect Drona's vision so that it is directed away from the Pandavas to someone else in the Pandava party. And he found a likely candidate in Drupada and Drupada's son. Actually, personally, Drona had nothing against Drupada's son, but Drona and Drupada had an antipathy that went on for a long time, and thus that went back for a long time, and thus here we see that in the previous verse also Drupada Putrena, the mention of Drupada was there, and now in this verse also Drupada is mentioned. Among the many warriors that are there, the last line is Drupada. In writing, it is said that we can place the most important thought either at the beginning or at the end of a sentence, because that is the time when people are most attentive. Attention is maximum. So here Drupada places the thought at the end. Duryodhana places the thought at the end, and he mentions Drupada as the last name. And the idea of the intention behind that is that Drona should remember that the opposite side is not the side of his affectionate students Pandavas. The affectionate side, the opposite side is the side of his enemy Drupada. And thus, by directing Drona's emotion towards Drupada, Duryodhana hoped to create enough antipathy towards him, towards the opposing army itself. Generally, when we are meeting one person to one person at that time, we may have our individual equations in our relationships with those people. But when we are meeting a group of people, then sometimes if one person in that group comes prominently in our vision. There's somebody whom either we are affectionate towards, very strongly affectionate towards, or very strongly averse towards. Either way, if that one person fills our vision, then that is all we see, and our response to the whole group may be shaped by the presence of that one person in that group. So